Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to Learn English Live. And in today's lesson, we are going to talk about how to pronounce the T sound. So let's get started. Let's see who all is here today in the live chat. Looks like we have Dwee and Anna are here today. Great. It's nice to see you guys. Who else do we have here in the chat? We also have Samira. Hello, Samira. How are you doing today? If you guys could let me know if you can hear me and see me, that would be great. I hope you guys can hear me. Hang tight here. We're working on some things. So let's see here. Hey, Michelle. Hello, everyone. Yes, you can hear me. Perfect. Thank you, Samira. There is quite a delay. So we are experiencing some really difficult weather here where I live. I'm wondering if we're having some difficulties with our internet because of that. Okay, so Michelle says he can. Anna cannot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward. I'm hoping that everything's going okay here. I'll also check to make sure everything's hooked up. So, Pasha, I need to check with my son to see if he can maybe check to make sure everything's okay on my end with my connection. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with our lesson. It looks like some of you guys can see me and hear me. I'm just going to send a message. Like I said, we've had some pretty nasty weather here where I live, and it is causing a lot of power outages and just really uncomfortable situations. Really cold, ice and snow, and for people who live in the south of the United States, they are having a hard time right now. But luckily, everything with me, where we're at, we are warm and we have power. Hopefully we continue to have power. So those are all good things. So let's take a look and see who else is here. Natalie is here. Layla, Gertrudis, hello, Anna. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I'm so happy to see you guys in the chat. I want to just remind all of you that everything that Robin does to help us bring you these live lessons every week is so crucial for you guys to continue to support us by coming to our live lessons. And thank you for being some amazing supporters of the channel by being members of the channel. So thank you for those members. Hello, Raha. So Layla, Gertrudis, Anna, and Dwee, and Anna, and Michelle. Thank you so much for your support. It allows us to do our jobs, which is to help you learn English. So tonight's lesson is going to focus on the T sound. Let's work on the pronunciation of the T sound. Now, this is actually a sound that a lot of times people think, well, that's pretty easy. It's not like an R, but there are some allophones of the T sound. Allophones are when we pronounce the T slightly differently. And we're going to talk about how we pronounce the T sound in place of the ED for some word endings like regular past tense. So let's go ahead and take a look. Everyone, I am doing okay. Layla, I'm feeling better. Thank you for asking. I have given my cold to my daughter. So I was pretty sick for a few days, but luckily I do not have COVID. So good things, positive. Let's think positive thoughts. So let's start by learning how to describe the T sound. So if we were focusing on the phonetics of the sound, let's talk about that, okay? Now, I'm not going to write things out for you and transcribe them. This lesson is so that everyone can understand it. But the first thing that we look at the place and manner of the sound. With the T sound, we're going to talk about the place, and the place refers to where a sound is made. So let's learn about the place of where the T sound is made. So the place for the T, it is an alveolar sound. Now, for some of you who've been in my prior pronunciation lessons, you might remember me talking about the alveolar ridge. The alveolar ridge is the bumpy space, the bumpy spot just behind your top teeth. So let's all take your tongue, take the tip of your tongue and place it up behind your top teeth. You should feel bumps there. Let me know. What do you guys feel, the bumps up there? Let's take a look. Oh, Samira, I'm glad you enjoy pronunciation lessons. Thank you, Layla. Yes, my daughter says, Mom, I'm mad at you. You gave me your disease. Well, I don't have a disease, but I gave her my cold. Anna, you're welcome. Actually, we need to thank Robin for this. He suggested that I do a lesson on the T sound, and I love pronunciation. It's what I have a lot of training and background in, so I'm more than happy to bring this lesson to the students. Excuse me. So, students, do you feel that bumpy ridge up behind? Do you feel that bumpy ridge up behind your top teeth? Let me know if you feel it. Let's see here. I'm waiting to see if anyone has felt that spot. Take your tongue tip and put it up behind your alveolar ridge. It seems that I'm having quite a lag in the chat. So let's bump back here and see. Yes, you do. Okay, Gertrudis. So table, yes, table would be an example of a word that we would use for that T sound. So let's go ahead and get back to business. Thank you for your patience. So the alveolar ridge is the bumpy ridge just behind your top teeth, and it's where the tongue comes close to touching when we produce this T sound. So when I am teaching this sound to my young students, as you know, I work with young students, I will often call this the tapping T. T, t, t. And the reason why I call it the tapping T is because the tip of our tongue taps at or near the bumpy ridge behind our top teeth. Let's practice it together. T, t, t. Okay, perfect. So we all are feeling it. Now let's take a look at the other alveolar sounds that we have in English. So the English language has 7 alveolar sounds. Besides the T sound, we have the cognate pair, which we'll talk about that in a moment, which is the D, D. So we can try the T, T, and the D, D. And then we have the S, S. That's also an alveolar. Say these with me, guys, okay? Practice these with me so you can feel what your tongue is doing. The cognate pair for the S is the Z. Then we have the N sound, N, N. For the N, you can really feel your tongue going up to the alveolar ridge. N. Then we have, of course, the liquid, the L, which is a really difficult sound for some students. Oh, oh. But feel your tongue. It's going up, moving towards that space, that alveolar ridge. And finally, the R. Again, it's not touching, but it's moving towards that specific area. Okay, so 7 alveolar sounds. Alveolar sounds. Alveolar sounds are sounds that are produced by our tongue, the tip of our tongue, either touching the alveolar ridge or coming close to it, approximating the alveolar ridge. Approximating is a fancy schmancy word for coming close to. Okay, so let's take a look at the manner. So the manner, we talked about the place. The place is the alveolar ridge. The manner is how the air is released for each sound. What do we mean by the air? Excuse me. So when we're talking about the manner of the T sound, which we have right here, the T, which this card talks about the T, it shows a clock because that ticks, tick, 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 tick. A clock ticks. It is a stop, which means that it's produced by stopping the airflow somewhere along the vocal tract. Now, the vocal tract is basically from your larynx, your voice box, up through your nasal cavity, through your oral cavity, which is your mouth, and out. That's the oral tract. So the T sound is a stop. It's produced by stopping the airflow along the vocal tract and then releasing a puff of air afterwards. So students, where does the stop occur? Where are we stopping the airflow? Where is the location that we are stopping the airflow? I'll give you a moment and take a look at the chat to see. Let me know where you think we are stopping the airflow for this lovely T sound. And we have quite a few words and sentences we're going to practice later. And we may talk about the difference between American English and British English and how the T sound is treated differently between the two. So let's see how we're doing here. Let me know, students, where do you think we are stopping this sound along the vocal tract? Where is the sound being stopped? Where's the airflow being stopped? Gertrudis, excellent. Thank you for your comment. Says the teeth stop the air. That is partially correct. Where are we putting our tongue? Our tongue is stopping behind our top teeth, and along with our teeth, we are stopping the air for a moment, and then we are releasing it with a puff of air. So if you have a piece of paper nearby, this has my pizza order on it. My husband just left to get dinner, And because Tuesday nights, that's live stream night. And so I don't cook. And he can't cook in the kitchen because it would make too much noise. So he went to go get dinner, and I have my pizza order here. So Layla says above our upper teeth. Yes. So that bumpy spot where our tongue is coming close to that bumpy spot, or touching even. With me, when I make the t sound, my tongue actually touches the bumpy ridge, the alveolar ridge. So get a piece of paper, guys, if you have one. Quotes lovers, you cannot hear the sound. Can anyone else? Does everyone hear the sound today? Let me take a look again and see if there's something going on. I'm still streaming. Or do you mean, quotes lovers, that the maybe you mean that you're not able to get that sound produced? If I could get you guys to just let me know that you can hear me and see me again, that would be great. So we're going to get a piece of paper like this, okay? And you're going to put it in front of your mouth, okay? No, you are correct, Layla. That is exactly that's the answer. It's above your upper teeth, behind your front teeth, okay? Hello, Mosin. So let's get a piece of paper, and we are going to put it in front of our mouth, and we are going to produce the T sound. And we're going to see what happens with this piece of paper. Before we start that, I'm going to wait to get a comment. Can you guys let me know if you can still hear me? I'm just going to check here and see. Let's see. Can you guys still hear me okay? I'll check the feed again. Ah, Layla's holding her paper. Good. She's ready to go. That means you can hear me. Perfect. Okay, so here we go, guys. We have our paper. Let's put it in front of our mouth, and I'm going to do this from the side so you can see what it looks like. So we're going to work on getting our t sound. So we're going to say t, t, t. What happens to the paper when we produce the T sound? T, t, t. Let me know what happens when you use your paper. What happens to the paper? So let's see here. We have Samira, Layla. Layla, did your paper, what did it do? Let's see what our paper did. Yes, Layla. Okay. You're holding your piece of paper. What did your paper do? Yes, Gertrudis. The paper moved. Hello, Diego. That's a great way to describe it, Anna. It's flapping. So what that shows us is that you are pronouncing the T sound correctly. You are pronouncing it, you're producing it like a stop. You're stopping the airflow, and then you're releasing a puff of air afterwards, which then moves the paper a little bit. Okay, great. Excellent exercise. Okay, let's continue. So now if we're talking about the manner, we've already talked about the place as being an alveolar and that there were 7 alveolars, right? Now we're going to talk about the English stops. So English has 6 different sounds which have the manner of a stop. Yes, Michelle, you are correct. The paper moves down below. So there are 6 different sounds which have the manner of a stop. We have and let's just say these out loud, the P, 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 the B, B, B. The T that we just talked about, it's cognate pair, the D, D. And then these sounds are joined by the K and G sound. So the puff of air is different with some of these other sounds, but you can feel that there is a point of constriction in our oral cavity when we pronounce each one of these sounds. So with the P and the B, where is the point of constriction? P, B. What is the point of constriction with the P and B sound? Let me know in the chat, and I'm going to, let's see what's going on here. I've got Chica. Chica's trying to cuddle up with me today. Chica, would you like to come up and say hello to all my friends? Come here. Come here, girl. All right, so Robin has his little bear, little Robin, and my mascot is Chica. What do you think, Chica? Chica is a very naughty puppy. She is so naughty. She likes to chew on expensive things. She has chewed on 3 Apple earbuds, wired ones. Yes, so Michelle, you're right with the lips. That's correct. The P and B, the point of constriction for both of those stops are the lips. So great. Yes, P is also an explosive sound. P. Now, like I said, the amount of air that is exploding out of your mouth for the other sounds aren't quite as forceful maybe, but let's try the P. P, P. The P has a lot of air. Let's try the B. B, B. There's very little movement of the paper. I can just feel vibration. Then if we try the T, 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 and the D, 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 very little. You can feel your paper vibrate with that. And I'm going to guess with the K and the G, there might not be much movement either. Let's try that. Hola, Diego. Hello, Diego. K, K. Wow, I'm surprised. There's a little bit of air with the K. K, K. And finally, the G. G, G. So there you have it. The English stops produce an explosion of air after you release the point of constriction. Okay, so let's now talk about voicing. And voicing is an important characteristic when we talk about phonetics and pronunciation, because it is something that will help you know what you need to do when you're pronouncing words that have the ED on the end. So ED for word endings. Okay, so Layla wants to say that the P has air more than the others. You are correct. The P is a very explosive sound, and the reason for that is because we have the entire mouth is able to fill up with air, since the point of constriction is the most anterior or most forward place in our mouth. Okay, so P versus the point of constriction being further back. Okay, just one moment. Hey, Pasha, I need to tell my boys they need to go out and help Dad with the pizza. So let's do that. So the T sound, let's talk about the T sound. It is considered a voiceless sound. So can anyone help me? What does it mean to be voiceless? What does it mean when a sound is a voiceless sound? Can you guys help me with that? Let me know, what does it mean when a sound is a voiceless sound? Michelle says, my kitten mascot wants to stay on my knees. I like it. So what does it mean, students, when we say the T sound is a voiceless sound? What do we mean by that? Let's see if we have any answers. If we say it's a voiceless sound, T is voiceless. Pasha? If my boys don't help my husband bring in the food, he will get frustrated. Thank you for going to help your dad. I can hear him pulling in right now. So the dogs are going to bark. I'm sorry. They bark because they hear my husband getting home. So it's silent. Layla means silent. Yes, you are on the right track. When someone gives an answer that is close to the answer, we say you're on the right track. That means you're really close. When we talk about a sound being a voiceless sound, no vibration. That's right, Dwee. When we're talking about the voice box, there's no vibration when we pronounce the T sound. So feel your throat. T. T. It's voiceless. There is not vibration present in your throat. The voice box, or more appropriately called the vocal folds. So the vocal folds are actually tissue that are like a rubber band. A rubber band, like what you wear in your hair, or you tie things together with a rubber band. So they move like this. So if we have, down here is our lungs, and then up here is our mouth, and here are our vocal folds. They are tissue that's like rubber bands, and they come together like this. And the air makes them move together and pull apart. So the air will push them together, and the air then pulls them apart, and then they come back down again, and they do the same thing over again. Okay? So if it's a voiced sound, they will come together. If it's voiceless, they don't come together. The air is not being forced up as forcefully. So there is no vibration. They don't come together closely. They'll do this, but they don't vibrate together. Okay? All right. So let's talk about the cognate pairs. The cognate pairs. This is a term that refers to the concept of two consonant sounds which are produced in a similar manner, but they have different voicing. Now remember, we talked about manner being about the air that is released. So with the T sound, the cognate pair is produced the same manner, and it's also produced with the same place. So our tongue is going to the same place, and the manner of releasing the air is the same, but the difference is the vibration. They have different voicing. So our T, yes, Diego, our T is voiceless, but the cognate pair, the D sound, I'm going to write this down so we can just have some visuals. The D sound is voiced. So there is vibration when we pronounce the D sound. So the cognate pair. What do you think the cognate pair is for T? I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little early. But go ahead and comment in the chat. Let me know, what do you think the cognate pair is for T? Let's see. Is it really cold out, Chad?
Yes.
Yes.
You had to start pulling that fan up.
So Chad says it's really cold out. Is it windy too?
No.
No.
Not windy? Okay.
It's not really cold outside unless it's windy.
It's a deep snow.
A lot of snow?
Yep.
Are we supposed to get more snow
Tomorrow.
tomorrow? More snow tomorrow. Yay! No. My birthday is in February, and my son's birthday. It's later this week, and it's always one of the coldest times of the winter, and we always get snow around my birthday. And it's very interesting because I really dislike winter. I dislike it greatly. But yet it's when my birthday happens every year. So, okay, let's see. Anyone else want to share with me what you think the cognate pair is for T? Let's see here. We'll give it another moment.
Yes, each do one.
Okay, so when you ask your teacher for mom get
Will someone tell Ruslan that I'm actually...
Be quiet.
Okay, fine.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. I think there's quite a delay tonight here. It closes to come out of my mouth. D. Yes, Gertrudis. Layla, I'm not sure I understand your question. Can you try to rephrase it for me? Yes, the cognate pair for the T is the D. They are produced the same manner. They have the same place, but their voicing is different. Yes, so D and T, they are kind of like sisters or brothers, and so very similar. The only difference is the fact that they have different voicing. Yes, thank you. Michelle, is your birthday in February as well? Do you have a February birthday? Okay, so let's produce the sound. Now let's go back and we're going to try the T. Remember, air is briefly prevented from leaving our vocal tract when our tip of our tongue presses against the alveolar ridge. So let's try it again. T. T. So here is a description of how we produce the T. As your tongue tip presses against the alveolar ridge, the sides of our tongue on the side here, they press against the upper sides of our teeth, our molars. So on the insides, that's what's happening. So I want you to feel, you know where your tongue tip is, but what are you doing with the sides of your tongue? Let's try that. Do you feel the sides of your tongue? They're close to those molars on the side, right? Yes, happy birthday to everyone whose birthday is in February. I have my birthday cupcake that I share with my students when they have a birthday. So happy birthday to all of you who have February birthdays. No problem, Anna. So, Michelle, not exactly. Oh, Anna's birthday's in February too. Yay. Okay, so Michelle, the T and D are cognate pairs in all English sounds. There are differences between how American English and British English uses the T, and I'll talk about that a little bit at the end as well. So when we are producing the T sound, the sound is aspirated when air is released. Oh, Michelle has a May birthday. I would much rather have my birthday in May, Michelle. We'll talk about what aspirated means, but the sound is aspirated when air is released. So this is very noticeable when we produce words that have a T at the beginning of the word. It's very noticeable with those kinds of words. So what is aspiration? Well, there are a few different definitions for this word, which you can look up in the Oxford Learner's English Dictionary. So I love the Oxford English Learner's Dictionary. I think it is my favorite. I know Robin uses it all the time as well. I really like that particular dictionary. But aspiration is a strong burst of air which happens when you release a speech sound, and it's often best described as a puff of air. So when we are producing that P sound, you can really see that puff of air, right? The T, there isn't as big of a puff of air, but there's still aspiration occurring. So let's begin with practicing the sound in isolation. So this would be by itself. Let's see here, Michelle. T and D. I would say the opposite. So American English tends to, in our connected speech, Michelle, the T sounds more like a D. You are correct. And with British English, they tend to enunciate their T sounds in the words. So let's try our tapping T by itself. And I like to use the phrase tapping T because it feels like our tongue tip is tapping the alveolar ridge. T, 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 t. There we go. So now let's move into practicing some words. We have T words with the T in the initial position or the first sound in the word. Taco. I had a taco last night for dinner. I did. We also have turtle, and so sign language for turtle. We have turtle like this, or actually this is sign language for turtle. This is. But some of my young students like to do this instead. But this is turtle in sign language because this is like the turtle's head and this is the shell. Tongue, which we talk about the tongue a lot when we are working on pronunciation. And then finally, toys. And I am surrounded by toys. I have all kinds of toys here, guys. Toys, toys, toys. So let's try a few other words. You guys can type a T word. Let's give us some T words from the students for us to practice. Let's see what T words you guys have. Any T words that you guys have, let me know. Let's see what T words you guys can come up with. Does anyone here have a name that starts with T? I don't think we do. Mohsin? Raha? We don't have any students here tonight with a T sound. So, okay, we have Michelle says, for my last holidays, I took a tent. So we've got some T sounds. Toward, T, tomorrow. Natalie, I forgot you were here. Thanks for participating. Tears. Oh, tears. Yes. You could also say tears. Two different ways of pronouncing that, right? If you have not, I do have a video on my Instagram and TikTok about tear and tear. It's actually one of the most highly watched videos that I have on my social media. Try, yes. Try a Little Tenderness is a great song. Okay, so let's time. That is the one thing we always run out of, right, Gertrudis? Time and tie. Now let's practice some T's that have the T sound in the medial position. So Anna has torn, tear, tile, top, tickets, and tickle. Woo! Great work. And you know what I just realized? I have not used the star tonight in the lesson. Ding, ding, ding. Great job. tool. Excellent work, Layla. So let's practice these words. We have potato, potato, which the T is in the middle, but we'll talk about that. Potato, and seat belt, seat belt. Diego, yes, ticket, good. Ponytail, so I wear a ponytail. This is a ponytail, a ponytail. Do any of you wear your hair in a ponytail? My friend from Ecuador, he really likes it when he thinks women are very attractive when they wear their hair in a ponytail, which I found interesting because I haven't had any friends who felt that way before. Matter, yes, which when we pronounce it with American English, matter turns into matter. It sounds like a D. Then we have chapstick. I'm going to put on my chapstick. This is actually lipstick, but I'll put it on anyway. Chapstick is usually clear, but they do have different types of chapstick that has a tint to it. So now let's move on to T words in the final position of the word. And then we're going to practice some sentences and talk about the ED past tense. So we have bat, coat, hot, and white. So Layla, you wear your hair in a ponytail every time. Be careful, Layla, because when you wear your hair in a ponytail too often, it will cause your hair to break. You don't want to pull it too tight into a ponytail. Construction, that is a great word, Diego, with your T in the medial position. I love it. My father worked in construction. He was a contractor, which also has a T in the middle. So I'll add that to the mix. So he was a contractor. He built homes. He was a contractor. And my husband also works in construction. He works on road construction. He helps build roads. So let's practice some sentences with T in the initial position. So here we go. We have Tom talked to Tim. And we're going to do some linking exercises at the very end. Tom talked to Tim. And now let's read the second sentence. Take the time to tickle your toes. Take the time to tickle your toes. I don't like my feet being tickled. Okay, take the time to tickle your toes. Oh no, Layla, I'm not telling you not to wear it in a ponytail. It's very helpful, especially when you are hot, when you are exercising. Just don't pull it too tight in the ponytail. Now let's try the T sentences in the medial position. So we have take your guitar and your mittens. Take your guitar and your mittens. And then we have, is your tabby cat still little? Little is a word that is used a lot, right? To describe size. Is your tabby cat still little? So, Michelle, do you have a tabby cat? A tabby cat is a cat that has specific kinds of markings. A tabby cat has, I believe it's yellow. What color is your cat, Michelle? And now we have some sentences with the T in the final position. The bat took a bite out of the nut. The bat took a bite out of the nut. Now, do you hear the difference? So when I speak and use the sentence in more connected speech. It's different. So first we have, the bat took a bite out of the nut. So then if we change it and be like, the bat took a bite out of the nut, the T kind of falls away, right? Alex, yes, you can. Bottle party date water. Good, great. And then we have, don't walk barefoot, your feet may get cut. Don't walk barefoot, your feet may get cut. Let's try it a bit faster. Ah, yes, a tabby, cool. Don't walk barefoot, your feet may get cut. So that's, the T is not enunciated as clearly. You can feel your tip of your tongue not touching behind your top teeth as it did when we spoke more slowly. So let's review the rules for past tense and ED. And actually, students, I'm going to change this. It's not just past tense ED. It's when you use ED for a word ending, because you could use word ED for other word endings as well, for other parts of speech, if you wanted to maybe talk about adverbs, things like that, that happen to have ED at the end. There are 3 ways to pronounce ED. So we have id, t, and d. So when we have the ED on the end of words, it will be pronounced id, t, or d. So let's take a look at why and how we do this. So with id, the words which end with a D or a T, words which end with a D or a T are changed to id. We pronounce count, and then we talk about counted, id, counted. It's not count ed, it's counted, id, counted. Decide, decided. To watch, good. To, So Layla, if this is something that is challenging for you, it is something that is often challenging for many, many students. Counted, decided. Let's see, what would be another one? There's so many. I have a list here. Let's try a few others. Weighted, weighted, pat, mat, rat, hat. So we could say, fighted wouldn't work because that's past tense. Started, started would be another example. Wanted. Hey, Alyssa, I didn't know you were here. Great to see you. Hi, Amina. Yes, you are correct, Amina. That is a correct answer from where you're watching right now. So let's talk about words that have the ED. You're right. That is another way. Watched, because, and we'll talk about the reason for not watched. It's different. So painted, ended, finished. So finished, Alex, is different, and we're going to talk about that now. So verbs that end with a voiceless sound, or words that end with a voiceless sound, like k, p, or like Alex had here, t. He's had painted, so that's different because it's a T or a D. But then if we have other words like sh, that's a voiceless sound, so the ED is turned into t. Picked, helped. You can hear the t sound at the end of these words. So then we have words that end with a voiced sound. So the L sound is voiced, fill your throat. The Z sound is voiced, z. So called, amazed, if we have popped, popped out, popped out. So you don't really hear the T because the T, when it's followed by a vowel, it disappears. Popped out. You don't hear it. It doesn't disappear, but it's minimized. So we're going to practice some linking now. That's what the next step is. So with words, let's just review really quick, guys. Words that end with a voiceless sound, their ED is pronounced like T, so picked. Words that end with a voiced sound, like the L, then the ED is pronounced D, called. Looked ends in a T sound. So let's practice some linking. This is where it gets a little interesting, right? So if we take the sentence, wait in the doctor's office, it turns into wait in the doctor's office when we link the words together in connected speech. Let's try it again. Layla, I will pronounce that word for you in a moment. Wait in the doctor's office. Now say it in connected speech. Wait in the doctor's office. The T turns into a D, and the vowel sound of the next word, it's pushed together. Wait in the doctor's office. Okay, so Layla, described me. Described me. So let's try a few more sentences. Let's eat an apple. Pronounce that sentence. Let's eat an apple. When we use the sentence in connected speech in a conversation, it turns into let's eat an apple. The T turns into a D. Now, this is where Michelle was talking about British English. When speakers who use British English, they're going to be more likely to say, let's eat an apple. They are very clear on their usage of T, and they do not minimize the T to the D sound. But American English speakers, let's eat an apple. All right, let's try this next sentence. Put it by the door. 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 So we pronounce the T and put, it turns into more of a D. Put it by the door. Diego says hitchhiked. Yes. So hitchhiked is the T for the ED. And Michelle says, I'm going to, I gotta. So I gotta, yes, the T in I gotta sounds like a D. I gotta do it. I'm going to. How smart are whales? In conversation, how smart are whales? The T turns into a D, and the vowel sound of the next word, it's pushed together. How smart are whales? This is called linking, and it does take some practice. Okay, so I'm ready to wrap up the lesson, but I have a couple more minutes so I can see here if we have any other questions. I really appreciate all of your participation. I see lots of words here. Great work, everyone. Now remember, if you would like, you can follow me on my different social media. So I am on Instagram, TikTok, and I'm now on Facebook, and I'm also on the app Hallo. So these are all different places you can find me on social media. And I just posted a new video. It's a phrasal verbs video, and you can follow me and some of my family through our day-to-day. while learning phrasal verbs. Pronounced. Pronounced. And there's a T because the C is a soft C sound and it sounds like an S. Pronounced. So all of these social media, it is, I am Learn English with Cheri. So I will just type here for you. You can always look up Learn English with Cheri. Check out my social media. I also have my own YouTube channel, for most of you know, and I think that's about it. So Alex, if you had another question, now would be the time to ask. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Today we focused on the pronunciation of the T sound, the T sound. Watch the playback if you would like to practice some more on linking and also the rules for pronunciation of the ED sound at the end of words. Thank you so much, guys. Be safe, keep practicing, and be kind to one another. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a lovely week. Goodbye. Oh, I'm glad you learned a lot of important things today, Layla. Thank you so much. Yes, Alex. So the live stream, I'm going to end the live stream, but you can ask a question here in the feed and I will answer it for you. Thanks, guys. Goodbye, everyone.